Yeah, I was coming out.
Call this meeting to order. It is 10 o'clock.
Mr. Gates here, Mr. Geller here, Mr. Buckley, there's a quorum.
Stand as you wish for the pledge and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please be with us today as we come together for this meeting. Do what's best for the county. Keep us all in mind as we go through the day and bring us home safe. I ask this in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
I want to welcome and introduce Mike Ryan. I almost caught you while you were still standing. He is our lieutenant over the road deputies. He's replacing Randy Tate. Very glad to have you. And our consent agenda is approval of minutes of last week, monthly report and sales tax report from the treasurer, monthly, removal and destruction of inventory of county circuit clerk, monthly report, recorder deeds, appointment order, Madeline Mast, prosecuting attorney's office, and adjustment of changes per job description for more. Okay, motion please.
I'll make the motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, we've got 3 bid openings. The first one is the final scan project for the recorder of deeds. How many do you have?
We have one.
You have one, okay. These will be put on the table down here for public display, and I guess we can leave them through the meeting rather than interrupt. Okay, that's all of the recorder of deeds open bids. So, open bids for election supplies, how many do you have there?
We have one.
I have one, okay. I see a trend going on here.
Vidar Technologies, Vidar, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your only bid.
Okay,
Okay,
now we have open bids for the second part of the RFQ fee structure. How many do you have? One?
one. Now, on the voting, I would ask for the commission to go ahead and act on that. This
On
is
which?
On the voting that was for the election supplies. We haven't had this we're already starting putting out absentee ballots in here in the next week or so. And since they put it on the issue on the ballot a couple weeks ago, we've got these bids in, but it's the same person that bids it every time. It could be considered a sole source provider, but it's Atkins, Henry Atkins, they do the printing, and it's 2,100. We've got to have the supply.
Well,
We've got to have the ballots to be able to do the thing.
Let's open this bid, and then we'll step back and do that.
Okay. We have one bid here, and it's here, it's there, and I'll put these two here.
Yeah, I'll scan this during the meeting.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, we do want to then to act on the election supplies. I backed up to that item. Do I have a motion to accept that bid for election supplies?
I make a motion we accept the Atkins bid for $2,100 for the election supplies.
Second?
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. The other bids we will study before. You know, I'm not gonna pass on this thing before I look at it.
Well, I make mention at the meetings that we had this past week, St. Louis County has went to a ballot process. Instead of printing the ballots, they went to voting centers in the county there, and you come in and you don't have to live there because it prints the ballot to your barcode of where you live as long as it's in St. Louis County, and then they don't have it. We unfortunately have to order enough ballots as if 50% of Farmington will vote. In reality, only maybe 10% will vote, and then we have to destroy them afterwards. And the point is that there are other now technical advances on how a lot of this balloting is being done. So we're going to take a review that this next year and say, is this something we want to look at? That you scan your barcode when you come in, it prints the ballot for you.
When you come in,
When
so
you
it's
come
not
in.
voted by mail or anything like that.
Not on these, no, these are printed as you come in, and you give the information, the ballot is printed, and then you're sure because it's matched up with your barcode that you've got the right ballot, appropriate ballot for your area. St. Louis County, they have hundreds of overlapping school districts and cities, and besides this, we on average have almost 30 different ballots within the county, but it lets you up in St. Louis. If you work in Clayton, you can go to Clayton and vote, even though you live in Chesterfield. So that's something in the future. It's kind of state of the art what we're doing around the country, that you have a lot more control over all your ballots.
Gotta really watch for security.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they have fewer voting places and more technology, more security each one. And they also have, I thought that was interesting, they have a website that you can go to, and they had high schoolers out counting the number of people that were in line. Unfortunately, we didn't have lines, so that's different. But they would say, okay, at Melville voting location at wherever the county center there are currently 78 people waiting to vote. In Webster Groves Voting Center, there's only 22, so somebody can scan it and vote go wherever they want, where they think the crowd's small. Fortunately, we didn't have that type of crowds because we had so many people voting in person, but that's an interesting thing, and they had almost 300,000 hits on their website over that voting period to figure out where the best location to vote early or vote on that day, and how long the wait would be. So I thought that was kind of
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on now to, so we've opened all the bids. Okay, approval of CMAR, step 1 RFQ. And just got this, so I think we need to.
No.
What?
No, not this one we got.
Okay, that was the other part.
The
Yes.
Step 2 is number 8, and you have to make the decision on how you want to handle that on number 8, but on 4, you've already got that.
Yeah, we
bid,
got that, that's step 1.
And you can award that today.
Okay. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the CMR, Brock Miller Construction was the only one we received, and make a motion that we accept that as RFQ.
Okay, good point. My comment there is
Yeah.
meant for the other part.
I'll second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor of appointing or approving Brock Miller as our CMAR, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of the right-of-way permit application. This has to do with people working alongside the county roads. We've had a lot to talk about broadband installation, that kind of thing. And so it's a $25 fee, but the idea is that our county road and bridge will know where people are working, where they're gonna be maybe blocking a road or digging out something or whatever. So it gives them a heads up on that. So,
It also gives the floodplain administrator some
Yeah.
insight too as to where creek crossing or river crossing will be.
that's a good point, yeah. Okay. So that's the purpose of this. The $25 fee will probably cover our cost on it. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the right-of-way permit application in San Francisco County.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions?
Yeah, who's going to issue it?
Just
kinda curious.
Very much.
Any other questions?
I assume if this fee is paid and issued from the county clerk's office, then the county clerk's office will be contacting Road and Bridge to
Yeah.
let us know
Yep.
the location.
And you can dig a ditch across his driveway if he does.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yes,
This permit is for a specific location, correct?
yes. Well,
Like project-wise, let's say that one of these contractors from Charter were going to place some cable alongside the road, and they were gonna do it on 3 roads. That permit would go for that road. That way we're aware of every project in the county, not just one contractor approved to do work in the county.
Okay. And so every time that they go to a different road,
Yep.
they're gonna have to
They're gonna
file a
have-
new one of those, another
They're gonna have to
$25.
process it every time.
Okay.
Well, and it will be site specific more than overall county for the purpose of identifying the things. Now, if somebody comes in, I don't know how tight we're gonna say, okay, you gotta get another $25 because you're crossing H, and once you cross H, it changes its name, so you've gotta pay. As long as the sites are named so that we can pass that information with the time frame that they're gonna be on them. That's what we're after. We're not out to beat them to death. We just want
No, I understand.
to make advice. But you make a great question is, we haven't really established that. I'm assuming that you all would want some discretion of saying, okay, somebody comes in with 4 sites that they're doing this on, and they're related, and they've got the time, that would be one permitting process rather than a site for every street that they're on during that. Because if somebody comes and does, for example, the cable, they may be involved.
Some of those
If they're
matters
doing
would
Jody
go
Run,
right.
there may be 10 streets, so you're gonna get a permit for every street,
Right,
or you're
that's
gonna
kinda
get a
wild.
permit for the project.
The project.
Yeah, that's why I interpret it, so that I just want to clarify that, because that we have to decide how much we charge.
Bob?
Does the permit have a requirement for the county to inspect the work or anything like that?
Road bridge.
It's a,
Yeah, it's in
but-
the terms and conditions.
but there again, $25 is surely not gonna cover the inspection costs for the county, is it?
Those guys are checking it all the time anyway.
Okay.
We're.
Well,
trying-
John and Clay, now you have had problems in the past where you'd have to go out and fix.
We have.
And it costs us money, so we actually know who's doing the job, where before. a lot
Well,
of
just to
times
say,
you-
like in Rich's subdivision, where he goes to McCormick, there's city utilities, the county maintained roadway. So if the city goes in and tears up part of the roadway, you know, there's some
They're
there's some different
responsible for that.
responsibilities.
The
Fair
only,
Glass,
this,
another one.
this is the first time I've seen it from, I looked at it yesterday, but I was reading it down thing. The only thing I would suggest we change is we don't name the specific individuals, we name the representative of the St. Francis County Highway Department or whatever. You can give them their job description, but otherwise, if we fire them next week, we have to come back and reapprove this form. I'm just saying, you know, rather than individuals, because individuals retire and they move on to different, I just thought,
Okay.
I would make the position, not the individual person, because then you would have to come back and reapprove the form.
Yeah, guess what?
The fee will be charged to the county clerk's office.
Charge to the county clerk?
They'll be responsible for the fee, which will be in their budget.
I'm sure that'll be part of their monthly report of their income.
All right.
We don't anticipate last year, how many of these do you think we had done? Less than a half dozen, maybe,
Probably.
maybe less than 4, so we will, yeah, I just found,
Less than two.
I would imagine it would go through our budget, but it's not expected to be thousands.
But with these infrastructure improvements coming to broadband, maybe quite a
There
few.
may be some more.
I bought a building permit yesterday, we need to make sure that goes on the monthly report.
Also, what happens to,
Well, you didn't pay cash.
Yes, I did.
I can't find that record.
I've got the receipt.
I don't mean to interrupt, it says Sullivan audition, but, so what happens if, the potential contractor, or whatever, does not fill out this application?
What's the penalty?
Yeah, what is the penalty?
Well, without planning and zoning, there's really not any teeth in the application, but it does let us know where those jobs are taking place throughout the county. I mean,
On
what
a building
happens- what
permit,
happens
there
if
is a
they-
penalty if you don't do it. And, you know, if you dug the first shovel full and you haven't bought the building permit, there's a double fee or whatever.
Who enforces that?
Good point.
Okay.
Very similar to our building permit.
Very similar.
Okay, any other questions? Rich?
Harold, if I may, is the assumption correct that this permit will be used for any type of work impacting the right-of-way, not just broadband?
Oh, yeah, that was my example, yes.
Is this a new form?
Yeah, we had a very generic form, and these guys updated it to put our county name on different things, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Extension of the memorandum of understanding with the TDL police system. Dan, you wanna talk about this, or? They called me and asked us to extend it.
Sheriff Dan Bullock. I had spoken with the board at Fairlight, and they have been very pleased with the contract over the last year, and would like to extend it and leave it the same as it has been this past year for the upcoming year.
And your opinion of it is?
We've had no major problems. I have Lieutenant Mike Ryan here, and he can speak to that even further, because he's really open to those guys. That's Mike. Got anything you want to add?
Mike, you're on the spot.
I don't have anything that we need to add in reference to that. With
Terry Black deputies working in conjunction with St. Francis County. It's worked out very well. We've had them assist us just outside Terry Black, lake development on 47 or 8, when we're driving further south in Knob Lake or Iron Mountain Lake or something like that. We have a good relation with Corporal Bloom. We had just recently replaced one of their deputies. It was basically a swap. Jonathan Best wanted to be in the detention center, so one of our detention deputies, Josh Gossett, went out to Terry Black. It was just a swap. But so far, it's been working really well. We haven't had any complaints with it.
So your recommendation is that we go ahead and extend this MOU?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the extension of the MOU with the Terry Black Police System.
I'll second.
Questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Renewal of contract with the E.J. Rice Company, the assessor will want to talk to us.
Good morning, Eric Vigal, Assessor's Office, and we are asking for renewal of the contract with J. Rice Company for printing and mailing the assessment list in 2020.
Okay.
Are they considered a sole source provider?
I believe they did, also did it on.
Okay.
So when you make the motion,
Yeah, what kind of cost is on that?
The budget estimate is $22,320.77.
Okay. And that's
Last
based on their
year-
bid?
Last year, the budget estimate was $23,631.22, and so it's actually $1,310.45 less
Okay.
than last year.
And they've given you good service in the past? Okay. Okay, so you recommend we do this? Motion?
I make a motion that we renew the contract with E.J. Rice, printing, mailing, and assessment for the assessors.
as a sole source.
As a sole source provider.
Second?
Second.
Questions? No questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, Eric. Okay, now here is the one we were talking about before.
We put this on there yesterday because we didn't know what it was, we didn't know how much it was, we didn't know how long the auditor's office would have to look at it. And so if you wanted to do it in 2 or 3 days, fine, or if you want to just wait till next week and let's listen to this recommendation.
Okay,
I put
this
a-
is the one we opened this morning, this, so we're gonna look at it before we act on it.
So you want to put that on next week?
Let's table it, and then if we want to move it up a little bit, we can do that.
Okay, yeah, we don't have to, I just was, that you need to decide kind of what we're
Yeah,
planning.
there's a time factor
next week.
involved here.
Yes, yes,
We need to get some movement going.
you got it.
Yeah, Bob?
We open bids. Normally, when you open bids, you give a bid amount. I don't know, I didn't hear 2 of the bid amounts.
Yeah, we have not looked at it because those are not coming up for approval yet.
I understand that,
And
but.
this is a series of prices, and that's why we bid it out, was all their services and what the fee structure is on all their
Okay,
services.
okay.
It's page after. That's why I said, I think we need more than just a day to look at it, and we put a placeholder on 8 to decide if that's something we can do by the end of the week, since it's time sensitive, or if we just want to wait till next week.
Okay, is that the same in the case with the auditor, the printing of the deeds and, you had one bid that opened that.
Yeah, we
Well, that
like to
was
look
open
at the
previously.
details of it, just to make sure it's, what we were wanting.
And
We've looked
then
at
we
one
approved the
before.
exact amount, but on the motion, when the motion was made, we approved the exact amount for that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And the one we
Yeah.
just now approved in a previous item was opened, last week?
Yes.
Previously.
Okay,
So that one was done then.
I apologize.
A lot of bid openings going on right now.
Yeah.
Is that gonna give you guys enough time to look that over also? Will that, if we do it Tuesday, will that give your office enough time to?
We'll have it by this afternoon.
Oh, cool, thank you, so we could add it.
So that's a possibility, if you all are comfortable with it, and I know you didn't want to do it without looking at it, but you can call a meeting anytime this week to approve it, as long as you give 24 hours advance notice, and so you've got that option also on that. It's just a matter of approving a single bid, as long as it's followed all the requirements, you can do that and be with it well within your.
So this item is tabled, we will handle it by this time next week, maybe beforehand. It'll be noticed if, we'll have to publish a notice if we do that, if we move it up. Okay, next step. Request for Officer Safety and Equipment Technology Grant Application, Mr. Crump. Mike, here, I'm not sure
Sorry.
there.
He's the starter. We're good. So we're asking for approval to apply for a block grant, through Department of Public Safety, to purchase 9 ballistic vests. Those vests will be utilized to outfit 9 of our patrol deputies for St. Francis County.
Okay. We've done this before, and I'm very appreciative of it, and thank you so much. So you want to, and you'll work with our grant people on this,
Correct.
Bridget? Okay, very good. Motion?
And that is the OSET, what they call it, grant, correct? So it's the safety-
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I knew they had that, used those initials, whatever. I make a motion to approve, give you guys permission to request for the grant.
Need some help with that?
I may, I should have got water for it.
Okay, second to whatever he says.
I was looking, I got lost, sorry guys.
Questions? Rich?
Yes, sir. Is there an amount for the grant at this point?
The grant,
Go ahead.
the grant amount is $7,500.
And is that matching grant? Is it a matching?
No.
Fully funded?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
7,500?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Bridget actually looked at, we got an email on that she looked at it and she was good with it, so they've been working with it on that, so.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
you.
Okay, next meeting, right here next week. There it is. Other business, correspondence. Public comments.
Can you say something on correspondence real fast, if you don't mind? Can you go back to that?
Oh,
Because I
okay.
forgot to do that. Linda, thank you, I just overheard you, but I throw that out there, the Sunshine, Law, training.
I've got a notice on that.
Yes, I just, oh, you do? Never mind, I don't have any correspondence. Okay, thank you.
It's under departmental reports in case you're wondering.
Sorry. It's like, I just wanna make sure we threw it out to everybody that.
Ms. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Hi, it's nice to meet you guys. So I live on a private road. I've been out there for about 7 years, and it's horrible road. We have about 10 residents out there, and all but 2 have disabled or elderly people, and our emergency personnel cannot reach us. We're requesting that you guys could help us take over the road and fix it for us, so at least emergency personnel can get to us. We've had several incidents where ambulances couldn't get on the road,
Yeah.
and we need help.
What's the?
It's Suzanne and Beverly Boulevard, so it's basically one road, but it's 2 different names where it tees off from each other.
We have not been taking in any additional roads. And so that's my first statement. I don't know how else we could help in any way.
We can on a private road, I mean, you're setting precedents if you do.
Are they collecting anything out there?
No, so I've been out there for 7 years, and there was supposed to be an association. They canceled it before I even moved in. And there's 2 of us that's been doing everything we can to keep rock and gravel down on the road. We recently became physically disabled and do not work no more. So that leaves me out. I don't have the money, and I don't have the physical ability to do it.
We spoke with our neighbor maybe, 2-3 months ago. They had some concerns about approaching,
Right.
Old 8 Highway off of Suzanne, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went out there and we did add some rock, but, I mean, really, that's all we can.
Is that as you go into Leadwood?
As soon as you pass Mitchell, or,
Between Mitchell Road and Leopard Center.
There's,
as you start down the hill
Mhm.
into Leadwood and
yeah,
all that.
on the left. And then if you take Mitchell, is that connects?
Mitchell, yeah.
What is that freeway?
Florence.
Florence Freeway is on the back side of it.
I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
It's horrible, and we got too many elderly out there. And ambulances can't get to them, what do we do for them?
That was established.
We had a fire out there, and we got lucky that the fire trucks had a good time getting down to the road, and they finally got down there, but it was before they couldn't save their life.
Yeah. It's a sad situation, and I can't come up with quick solution to it. right?
We spoke on the phone the other day, and that's what I told her, come to the commission and let you guys know her concerns, so at least it's in the minutes if the county ever does take in roads.
Yeah,
So, you
I guess just, people come here, they're talking about how many roads do we have in the county?
We have a little over 400, and there's about 700 private maintained roads within the county.
And like, Big River Hills approached us 2 months ago, wanting us to take in Big River Hills. Well, it's tough to say, well, we'll take them in because there's a lot of older people there, but we won't take you in because you guys are more fluid, and because they're all private roads. And then of the 600 miles of roads, how many do we average paving in the last 5 years? Something like 10?
We do anywhere from 20 to 30 miles a year.
Now, prior to that, it was about 10 a year.
Prior to that, it was
Last
about
couple
10,
years,
so that's the overall problem. They had, the current amount of roads we have in our system, we're having a tough time keeping them up. We're behind on them when we take in other private. So I'm just saying that I understand your situation it's a tough situation. We have to come up with some way to deal with this. And the other thing is, we've had a lot, the problem in the past we got here is what people are developing roads, and so, oh, well, the county will take you in. This is a great lot, we did your road, it's a basic road, but when you guys get it all here, the county will, and you've been here a long time, how many roads have we taken in the past 10 years?
I don't know of any in the past 10 years. And the commission has been approached numerous times over the past 5 to 10 years for a lot of private roads to be taken in, and they just haven't.
Long term, we probably have to come up with something overall.
Yeah,
Well, with review of the minutes from the late 80s and early 90s, there was petitions to the commission to take in roads then.
Right.
They've been in the minutes that long.
Okay, well, right now, we don't have a solution for it. We can express our sorrow and understanding, but right now, we don't have that solution. It's in the minutes that you've asked, and we will take that into consideration should anything change. And we'll take a hard look, and maybe sometime there should be a program of adding occasional roadway or mileage or some, in some factor. But I do thank you, and I wish I could help you more. Thank you.
You know, you can relate to it, and there's so much building, land acquisition going on out there that we're adding roads right and left.
Well, and those roads have to be brought up to a certain
Yeah, and
standard
they're not brought
before
up
they-
to us.
Yeah, well, that's why I want to make them aware of, because people need to be warned, buyer beware. If somebody tells you, oh, the county will take, then tell them, when have they done that? Ask them, when have they done that? Taking in a private road, because that developer isn't gonna be able to give them any examples of private roads being taken in.
Developer and real estate people.
And real estate.
Okay, any other public comments? Departmental reports. Mr. Nick, you're on the hook.
So Saturday we had a family emergency preparedness fair at the Centene Center here in Farmington. It was a great time. If you missed it, you missed a good time. There was possibly, we're going to have another one next year. We handed out some flyers and then just took a few snapshots there. I think rough estimate about 1,000 people came through. We handed out some rave information to get people signed up for the weather alert system. So hopefully we got some people signed up. In the picture here, we got Steve Bessemer here on the left from the state, and Tim Porter here on the right from Farmington Emergency Management. And like I said, if you missed it, you missed a good time. There's all kinds of booths out there and a bunch of information handed out. So.
Now, Steve was a local person here, radio personality, and now he's what, director of SEMA?
He just got promoted, and I honestly don't know what he got promoted.
Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, he got promoted. I think he's third. He moved up to third in charge, I believe, of SEMA.
Of the SEMA,
Yeah.
okay, all right. He's very active in that, and I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Nick. And that rave alert is, in case you're not aware, that's, I get it, and 2 o'clock in the morning, if you get a phone call, it's usually the rave alert. It's got a thunderstorm coming in.
In St. Louis.
Well, that happened, and, we're in St. Francois County too.
That's right.
By the way, you can sign up at our website for the Rave Alert, which also includes child abductions and any emergency evacuations, etc.
Good point. Okay. We have, as a commission, have decided to take a hard look at the payroll, or the pay amounts, or how you want to word that, for our county employees. We did interview one company this last week, and we learned that possibly their cost is going to exceed a sealed bid amount, and it's going to be at the end of the year before we can get that. They are looking at how we compare competitively with other employers in the area. So that's their approach to this thing. So we will look at that. We'll take a hard look at the sealed bid process. I don't know if I said it, but their thing would be toward the end of the year before we get a result. But we're taking a look at it. We're going to seriously study this thing and get this straightened out. So I just wanted to tell you all what's going on there. Sunshine Law Training. You want to talk about this?
Well, I just want to let everybody know at 1 p.m. in this room right here on September 21st, 2021, anybody that cities, counties wide want to come and sit through this Sunshine Law Training. I know it's sometimes rough and long to listen to, but it means a lot, and you guys are more than welcome to come. You understand where we're coming from. There's a lot of laws out there you can and cannot do, and sometimes it's more than a slap on the wrist when you do make those mistakes. So don't listen to it. It'll be a good one.
I went to this, as I said a couple weeks ago, and I've been through this, and I learned. Yeah, it was a long, dry day, but I learned quite a bit, and so it's worth going to.
Yeah, she's going to put it down in about an hour formal presentation, and then meet with anybody afterwards. The ones I've called all the cities in the county and invited them to come and learn, because they have to follow the same rules.
And at that time, she gave out an updated Sunshine Law booklet.
Yes.
Okay.
One other thing, if I could back up a little bit, because I want you to clarify, you're having a company come in and evaluate our pay structure and see where we're competitive, where we're not competitive. You don't anticipate job losses or anyone losing their salary level because of their investigation, correct? Because
no.
I found that the number one watcher of our videos are county employees. So you don't have an intention when they come in that they say, well, he's making $20 an hour and he should be making 15, so we're going to cut him to 15. That's not your intention.
No, there will be no pay cuts typically at all. And they watch too for compression. That is when somebody's really underpaid but hadn't been here long, will be moved up. Well, suddenly they're very close to somebody that's been here for a while. So that's called compression, and they'll be watching that very closely. So it's a very in-depth study. So it takes a while to get it done.
This young man out here had a question.
Yeah.
Chairman Wells, I'm just curious, who do you have coming in to give this presentation?
She's from the Attorney General's office of the state of Missouri.
I don't have her name right now. She's the point person for all of the Sunshine requests.
Okay.
And you got some of our smaller cities. That's why I called everybody. You got to know what you legally can do.
That's right.
Your backsides are on the line. That if there's a violation, even though you're volunteering to be elected officials and getting your whole, when I was mayor, it was $100 a month and all the grief I could stand. You also have a liability if you did things. That's why there were some questions. So I said, why don't you come in and give an overview of what they can and can't do, what they have to post, where it has to be posted, how much, if somebody said, we want the records for this for that long, what's a reasonable amount of time to get back to them? What can you charge them to find those old records? All those questions should be, and if you have something that's unique to your city, she said that she'd be happy to meet with anybody afterwards and say, answer that question that pertains to your situation.
That's great, thank you.
Well, there's your time.
Her name is Casey Lawrence. Sorry, we call her a couple times for different things, but she's always the one that answers the questions on such.
She does a good job. She knows what she's talking about. Okay, another departmental report. Parks is striking a little bit. If you look at the percentages there, since June it dropped off a little every month. Now it's still growing big, but I can blame Parks as long as I can on this. But that's the report, we're up 20.
Kids going back to school.
Yeah.
This month.
But you can see that we're still up 10.21% year-to-date, which is phenomenal. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for, and I always say that 68% of that tax income is from out-of-county people, 32% of residents. So that's significant. Okay, any other departmental reports? Yes, Dan?
Had one thing to add, and I don't know if too many have noticed that Mike Ryan sitting over here to the side.
We're gonna put him back up.
He was been nodding off a little bit. Most of the guys have been up since
3:30. I got
3:30 this morning, as well as myself and the chief deputy. And not going to make a press release this time, but we have assisted the FBI with notorious bank robbers who've been across the nation stealing ATM machines, and our guys called them early this morning. They're sitting in jail, and they've recovered all the money that was stolen. So
wow.
Kudos to them.
All right. Do you have any DNA on your handcuffs?
Thank you guys.
Cover the. I have no 20s, I swear.
That was around the backyard. I appreciate that.
Can I mention one other thing? Clarion Harrington died yesterday, and she was a longtime resident and council person here for years, and we want to remember her. Because sometimes they do not get the credit, and I asked her to serve twice when she told me she wouldn't do it, and I asked her to serve, and she was a retired accountant, and she was tough, real tough, and she kept serving in her retirement. We appreciate people that serve.
What's her age, you know?
She was 91.
91, okay. Sound like she put in a good life in public service. Okay, any other reports? I just ran out of meeting.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.